A broadcast service of City College and the San Diego Community College District. This is Jazz FM 88.3 KSDS San Diego. I'm Dave Drexler with Inside Art. Support for Inside Art comes from the members of San Diego's Jazz 88.3. This week on Inside Art, we'll preview a major exhibition of art from the collection of pop and cultural icons Swizz Beatz and Alicia Keys at the Museum of Contemporary Art San Diego. But first, a new era has begun for one of the most accomplished and distinctive big bands of this century as Gunn-Goodwin's Big Phat Band returns to the stage following the recent passing of its founder, composer, and musical visionary, who was also a regular presence with his weekly Phat Tracks show here on KSDS. Gunn-Goodwin's legacy will be celebrated through the multi-Grammy-winning music he created and the Big Phat Band he led on Saturday, May 2nd in the Jacobs Music Center downtown. And here to talk about the Big Phat Band and its guiding spirit, Gunn-Goodwin, is the band's new director and vocalist Vangie Gunn-Goodwin and longtime Big Phat Band trumpeter and LA Jazz stalwart Wayne Bergeron. Vangie and Wayne, it's great to have you both with us on Inside Art. And from all of us at KSDS, please accept our sincerest condolences on the loss of your beloved friend and musical partner.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Thanks for having us. And we're kind of lost souls still here. So
we really are.
Well, Vangie, did Gordon have a vision for, what would happen after he passed? Like he wanted to continue this band? Because I see it in the way that, in some ways, like the Ellington Band or the Basie Band, where, that continued on because there was so much music to love and to put out there.
Yeah. Last year, after Gordon's diagnosis, he and I were together after a pretty intense doctor's appointment where we were facing his potential death and just kind of making some decisions and talking through life a little bit. And at one point, he looks at me and says, "Would you consider keeping the band going?" And without hesitation, I was, yes, of course, yes. And decided right at that moment that the Phat Band is going to become something like the Basie Band, where it's just in 50 years, it's going to look different, but it's got the same music. And Wayne and I and a few others just feel to the depth of our guts that we have to keep Gordon's music alive. So absolutely, he wanted this. He knew I had the skill set, plus not only the skill set, but the passion. So my whole life's purpose now is about Gunn-Goodwin and Gunn-Goodwin's music and the Phat Band. So, yeah.
Wayne, you were a big part of the Big Phat Band, its founding trumpeter. You go back, even further with Gordon. Tell us a little about your history and his impact on you as a musician and person.
Yeah, well, he's had a huge impact on me since I was a teenager because going to jazz festivals, I would see their high school jazz band play, and Gordon was a lead alto player and writing a lot of the music for the band. And so I remember seeing his name, and we'd go to all these festivals, so you see the same people all the time. It wasn't until a couple of years later, I met him at the Sing at the Hollywood Bowl. They used to have the Battle of the Bands. And if your band made it to the finals, you played at the Hollywood Bowl, and there was vocal groups and small groups and things like that. And if your band didn't make it, which my band didn't, and neither did Gordon's, you got to audition for the production band, which was a band that backed the singers and stuff. And so Gordon was a lead alto player in that. So I officially met him there. And, and we played there for the 2 weeks or whatever, we're doing the thing. And then I didn't see him for years and years and years. I'll just tell the quick version of this story. His star was rising, and he was writing for TV and starting to do a lot of things. And I'd heard his name, but I hadn't been working for him. I got called to do a cartoon because all the other trumpet players he'd been using were apparently not available. and by our friend Dan Savant, who was the contractor. And it was a cartoon called The Cowboys of Moo Mesa. Right. Just as successful as it sounds. But he did the score, and it was all very Copland-esque. Anyway, I got hired to play trumpet, and I saw him and go, "Oh, man," we reminisced about old times. And I go, "Man, look, congratulations on all your success." And anyway, I've been working for him ever since that session on one level or another, and he would have me and started requesting me And he was working with all the heaviest people in town, the best trumpet players in town. So anyway, that's how we got together. He formed a big band to perform at IAJE. He was a musical director doing all Disney music. It was at Disneyland Hotel. And that was really the birth of the Big Phat Band. Mm-hmm. A lot of the members that carried on into the Big Phat Band were in that band. And Gordon, it was all Disney tunes and things. And that's what sparked Gordon to, actually start pursuing big band music again,
Well, so I got to pipe in here really quick. A couple years ago, we were talking about the Phat Band and the direction and taking it bigger and badder, in a good way, good, bad. And Gordon spent a good solid half hour telling me how lucky and how fortunate he was to have Wayne. And Wayne, I know you know this, but I wanted to reiterate it. Wayne's sound is the Phat Band. And so Gordon knew it. And so he really attributed a lot of the success of the Phat Band through the years to Wayne. And their styles just synced. Gordon was aggressive in his writing, and Wayne is aggressive in his playing. He also has a gentle side. But I mean, I'm the same. My singing is more in your face, So Gordon knew the value, and he loved you too, Wayne. That.
Well, I loved him too. Yeah. But Gordon's writing challenged my skill set.
I imagine it would be a challenge for anyone with the kind of changes and the quirky nature, if I may, in a loving way.
It's not an easy book. It's a well-written book, though. Yeah. But everything he writes is practical, and it might push the envelope a bit. But he wrote for the players in his band.
Right.
He wrote for Eric Marienthal and myself and Andy Martin and he knew our skill sets. And when he wrote this thing called Horna Puente for me. And the very first time we played it, we were rehearsing it, and I could barely get through the end of it. I was like, oh my God, this is hard, man. There's just a lot to play. And so I'm bitching and complaining about it, of course. And he was very sympathetic about it. He said, "Oh, you baby, come on, just man up and play this thing." And it kind of pissed me off. But I learned how to play it.
Right.
I figured it out, and then we played it on gigs. I said, "See, you can play it."
The same for vocal. As he started to add in more vocal components, and this is something that we talk about in our concerts. He didn't just have me do lyrics. He had me come in and join the sections. So I sing along with the horn sections.
But there's kind of thing.
A vocalese, yeah. So there's one thing in particular we did during COVID called the reset. And there's a middle section where I joined, and the range, I believe, is 2.5 octaves that I had to go, doing this whole thing. And like Wayne, I was getting angry because it was really hard.
Yeah. Can I do this?
Yeah. And he would stop, we would stop, and I'd be like, oh, and I'd just be so upset. And he'd go, "You got this. Come on, let's do it again." And I go, okay. So we do a section, and I'd struggle, and the same thing and everything. And then all of a sudden, within 10, 15 minutes, I was done. And it sounded awesome. And he goes, "See, I knew you could do it."
And you become, from being challenged. Yeah. You've grown.
Yes.
Because something you couldn't do, and you go and you figure out how to go, "Oh, I guess I can do that." And you can move on to the next thing,
Right. And that was who Gordon was. He saw all of that in all of us.
What do you have planned for this concert coming up on May 2nd at the Jacobs Music Center in San Diego?
We're doing the hits, a handful of the hits. We've got some of the new stuff from the new album that's coming out this summer. But we've added a video component. So you're going to see a lot of Gordon in our concerts now. And then Wayne and I pass the mic back and forth, and we talk to the audience. It's pretty fun, actually.
Yeah, we're finding our way still. But
we are.
But it's good.
It's fun.
Be good, yeah.
But I'll tell you this, the concert is just dynamic. And that signature Gordon-Goodwin energy and excitement is throughout. And of course, we will address the elephant in the room. We acknowledge his death and how devastating it is, but we don't stay there. We move on because that's who Gordon was and is, and we feel his presence with us. So it's going to be an outstanding concert.
I got to tell you, Vangie, in our last gig, you know, because I mean, I've heard his voice on some of the pre-records we've done, but hearing him talk, because she has him introducing the tunes, some of the tunes, you know, she's found video, so it works very well. But man, it was really haunting. It's giving me chills now, as a matter of fact. But just to hear his voice, it's all of us kind of felt that way too, like, wow, this, you know, and to look over at the piano and not see him there.
Yeah, that's
really tough for me.
That's probably one of the hardest things for me too.
Gordon left a legacy of songs that were recorded, and then I'm sure he was such a prolific guy that there are a lot more, and there are plans to, like you said, Vangie, an upcoming album is coming out called 25 Years of Phatness. Maybe you can talk about that and sort of, Wayne, the legacy of his unrecorded projects.
If you're starting with that, there's a lot of things that didn't get recorded that we played, and I could probably tell the ones that he didn't want to record because we'd only play them once. And then for whatever reason, he didn't like what he wrote, or, you know, or just said, whatever, that doesn't work, you know. So he was very critical of his own skill set. He wasn't in love with everything he wrote.
Correct.
You know, but there's a lot of really good charts that we haven't recorded. And there's enough material there probably to do two CDs if we dug deep enough. There's a lot of old music that we didn't play with the Big Phat Band that he was kind of famous for before the Big Phat Band. Mama Lama Samba is one of them that like college kids just loved. He wrote it when he was at Cal State Northridge. And people are online, as Vangie is saying, going, oh, you got to record this. Well, Gordon, he told me at one point, he goes, no, I'm so over that.
Oh.
He goes, I'm a way better writer now, even though the charts are great. There is one chart, though, it's called It'll Count If It Goes. The Vangie you might not even know about.
I don't.
He used to play with Bill Watrous' band. And that is a chart of his, an old chart that's worthy of being recorded. It's got one of the greatest sax solos, and one of my favorite sax solos ever. And it's a total swinging, like bassy, but a little more high-powered, you know, chart. So it's one we should try to do for sure.
Well, and so last year, right around this time last year, I've been thinking a lot about April 2025. We were on tour in Florida, and then we were prepping to go to Australia for a huge event called Generations in Jazz. And we were also planning for the fall to go back to Tokyo. And so I was pushing Gordon, saying, we have to have new product in hand for Tokyo. And he was like, oh, it's so much. Oh, we got to record. Blah, blah. You know, he was just like, oh. And I go, no, we cannot go to Tokyo without a new product. And he's like, I know. So anyway, we finished Australia, and we got back, and I pushed again. And then all of a sudden, he had 11 charts ready to go. I mean, he'd been working on them, but he's like, okay, yeah, let's book the dates. And I was like, what just happened? And so we went into the studio, and Wayne's a co-producer on this album, and they just tore it up 2 days. Anyway, I'll let Wayne speak at it, but we finished recording the band and the vocal sections, most of them, about 2 to 3 weeks before Gordon's diagnosis. So, it's getting me emotional. Whew. So this is super important to us. Sorry.
When's the release date on that, do you think?
July 31st.
Okay. Wayne, did you have anything to add to that about the 25 years of Phatness coming up?
Well, I thought that was referring to my weight. But,
Thank you, Wayne.
but first of all, Gordon, I was very honored and touched that he just said, hey, I want you to be the co-producer on this. And I've learned quite a bit of stuff. I have another skill set besides playing trumpet with studio business and stuff. And so when Gordon got sick and was going through the treatments, you know, we were just planning on working through through these mixes and stuff. And I used to tell him, I would joke with him. I go, hey, I know you got cancer and all, but we got a record to finish here, and he would laugh about that, but he was kind of too sick to come in for mixes and stuff. So I went in, and Vangie and I both would listen to things, and Gordon was sending stuff remotely and giving his notes. And so that's the way we ended up doing this. And Vangie and I went on the very final mixes to give our blessing to Tommy Ficcari on everything he'd done. But Gordon was, even though he was sick, was a huge part of getting this to sound the way we like it to sound. And very, Gordon was very particular about everything being right. Yeah. As am I. So we were, and as Vangie, so we're a good team that way. So, but anyway, I was very honored to be a co-producer on something that's so huge and such an important part of my life. And I've often said in master classes and stuff, people think, well, what do you think you're known for? And I said, well, I think that I'm defined as a lead trumpet player kind of by the Big Phat Band. Aww. Because so many of the youth, they hear that band more than anything else I do. I mean, I'm behind the scenes like you are, Vangie, in the studio all the time. Nobody knows what the hell is going on back there. But the Big Phat Band is in the public eye. And so it's a huge part of my life. And I'm grateful to Gordon for, I got to tell him this too, for doing that for my career, first of all, because it did a lot for my career. And he got me on a lot of work. And that's not why I was in this, of course, but it's just a byproduct of it. Yeah. And we became, and we were always very good friends, but the last 3 years of his life, I'd say we became very close.
Yeah, you did.
Before we go, Vangie, anything else you'd like to add about the legacy of Gunn-Goodwin? Any what's going to happen with his radio show or things like that?
This is kind of exciting. Since he can't do the radio show, we actually talked a lot about how to continue that sort of discipline, genre, and expand it. And one thing he did want to do, we worked on it about a year ago, was a podcast with the same kind of format as the radio show. So I am going ahead with it. And I have a whole team, a production team. I think there's 6 people on my team right now. And we are kicking off the Big Phat Pod, which kicks out in the end of May. And it's going to really focus on Gordon, of course, and his music, his legacy. We've got 13 seasons already planned out, which is mind-blowing. And that's because of the content that Gordon has. Each season's going to be an album. And we'll have a lot of special guests. Wayne will be all over it constantly. And in a way, yes. And in this season, our special guests are going to be Herb Alpert and Aubrey Logan and a bunch of others. And so it's going to be great and fun. And I can't believe I'm doing it because it's an insane production. But this is something Gordon wanted. And I like to be in front of the camera. So, hey, whatever.
Where can people look for that? Would that be at the Big Phat Band website?
Well, it will be everywhere. So your Apple Podcasts, it's going to be on YouTube as well. And then, of course, on the website. So I'll start advertising probably next week to start pushing it. Generations in Jazz is going to advertise it and the whole deal. It's going to be great.
Well, we're grateful to you both for joining us for a few moments on Inside Art to talk about the return of Gunn-Goodwin's Big Phat Band in concert at the Jacobs Music Center downtown on Saturday, May 2nd. Starts at 6 p.m. And the upcoming album, 25 Years of Fatness. You can look for that in late July. Thank you so much, Vangie Gunn-Goodwin and Wayne Bergeron, for coming on the program.
Thank you, David.
My pleasure. Thank you.
San Diego Symphony presents the Gunn-Goodwin Big Phat Band, Saturday, May 2nd at 6 p.m. in the Jacobs Music Center downtown. Tickets are available at sandiegosymphony.org. You can learn more about the Gunn-Goodwin Big Phat Band and purchase their music at bigphatband.com. And remember, Phat is spelled P-H-A-T. Coming up, we'll preview a major exhibition of art from the collection of pop music and cultural icons Swizz Beatz and Alicia Keys at the Museum of Contemporary Art San Diego. That's next as Inside Art continues here on San Diego's Jazz 88.3. Funding for Inside Art comes from the members of Jazz 88.3, where your support brings the joy and history of jazz and all of the arts to San Diego. To become a member, visit jazz88.org/donate.